Okay. Welcome, Leona. So glad that you can join me this afternoon for these election conversations. I have some questions for you. We'll fire away and looking forward to hearing what you have to say. Question one, how will your party address the climate crisis?
Our party is focused on reducing emissions, and that includes from large polluters as well as from individual consumers. And even more than that, we're going to reward Canada for having some of the most stringent environmental legislation in the world. And so encourage other countries that don't meet our standards to meet our standards by imposing carbon border tariffs. So that encourages our Canadian economy and recognizes the things that we've done, while also encouraging other countries who are not doing their part to also focus on doing their part. But even more than that, I believe that to focus on the environment, we need a plan that's not only about carbon emissions, but also focuses on energy efficiency, conserving clean water, and preserving and protecting, of course, Canada's natural beauty and eliminating the dumping of raw sewage in our waterways.
Thank you for that response. Second question, what will your party do to assist the vulnerable in our society?
Well, this is an excellent question. And certainly with COVID and the pandemic, we found that even more people are vulnerable. So one of the first things we need to do, of course, is have quality jobs. We need to address the gig economy, and we need to be able to have more affordable housing, and we need to have protected pensions. All those things we're going to focus on, which helps people to have a more affordable life in Canada and quality jobs and income. But we also need to look at mental health supports, and our party is focused on increased mental health supports and the opioid crisis by ensuring that there's more treatment for addiction and rehabilitation, because sometimes we just need that extra help. Also, we've seen that Canada has been dependent on a lot of other countries for some really critical items that we need to be able to look after ourselves in tough times by manufacturing them here at home. So we are focused on repatriating and encouraging more domestic manufacturing, which will in turn make us more self-sufficient, make life more affordable, but also provide those quality jobs, and in turn help more of the vulnerable in our society.
Thank you for that response. Third question, how will your party address the issue of the very rich not paying their fair share of taxes?
That's also a very important question, and something that I have been focused on for the last 6 years as an elected representative. Comprehensive tax reform. Not something that's really fun or sexy, but something that is really, really important. And our party is committed to comprehensive tax reform. Unfortunately, over the last 50 years, our tax system has become really complicated with lots of loopholes and all that kind of stuff, where we see large corporations who generate significant revenue from Canadian people and yet don't pay their tax in Canadian jurisdiction. We also see that many people have lost confidence in our tax system and think that it's just universally unfair. We pay taxes because we trust the system. Right now, we need to regain that trust of the Canadian public in our tax system, and we have to have the courage to have a comprehensive review of our tax structure to make it more equitable and to address some of the loopholes that have made it so that we aren't able to ensure that everybody feels we have a fair tax system.
Okay, very good. Fourthly, how would you like to see the Indigenous peoples represented in our society?
Well, they're a critical piece of our society, and I would like to see them treated just like I would like to see everyone else in Canada treated, with dignity and respect. We have a Charter of Rights and Freedoms, and we need to uphold that charter for all the members of our community and our country. And I would like to see, and our party is committed to implementing all of the recommendations from the Truth and Reconciliation. That's just where we need to go and what we need to do. We need to make sure we deliver on the promises of clean water. There should be no community in this great country that doesn't have access to clean water and healthcare and education. And so those are the basics. Those are the things that we're committed to doing. And we're long overdue, and it's time that we were held accountable as a government to ensure that we don't just talk about it. We make sure that it happens.
Thank you. Last question. This is your opportunity to brag. What abilities do you have to be a good member of Parliament?
Well, I've been very fortunate to have had a career that has given me a number of very diverse experiences. I served as an Air Force officer in the Canadian Forces, and I've worked in the public sector, in government. I've worked in the private sector at IBM and Bombardier. I understand manufacturing and innovation and the critical aspect of advanced technologies for an economic and prosperous society. And then I've also owned a small business, both in Aurora and up north, a canoe outfitting business with my husband for over 15 years. So I know the challenges of trying to make ends meet, but I also know that government matters in terms of the decisions and the supports and the foundations that they provide, because small business is the backbone of our community. I'm not afraid to stand and be counted and to do the difficult things. And I hope that I am humble enough to be able to admit when I can do things better and to listen when I may not have all of the answers.
Thank you. Okay, now is the portion of this interview where we put on a smile and I ask you 8 fun questions. Okay. What's your favorite color?
Blue.
What's
Air Force blue.
Yes. What's your favorite flavor of ice cream?
I am a weakness for dulce de leche.
Oh, okay. Have you ever driven a motorcycle?
Not with a license, but certainly with someone else driving.
Okay. Do you ever wear mismatched socks?
No.
No. What's your favorite genre of music?
Pretty much all. I'm very lucky. I just love music, from classical to jazz to punk to rock to alternative. Yep, pretty much everything.
Okay. What type of car do you drive?
I have the coolest Toyota RAV4 hybrid, which I love.
Okay. What musical instruments, if any, can you play?
Piano, and I played clarinet, and then I've dabbled in other instruments like drums and the flute.
Very nice. Lastly, do you chew gum?
Nope, I do not, because essentially it is the worst form of single-use plastic and not good for our environment.
Okay. Thank you very much for this, Leona. Good luck on the campaign.